This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 1689, Comic Talk!
You got it on Wednesday, and it was nice about it going to the volume up. These guys will talk about it, everything that geeks love. From cakes to laser beams, opinions like the seasons, and everything you read in comics, movies, games, toys, artists, Comic Geek Speak, Comic Geek Speak, Comic Geek Speak, Comic Geek Speak, Comic Geek. Uniting the world's mightiest heroes. This is...
I'm Brian Chrisman.
I'm Shane Kelly.
I'm Adam Murdo.
And I'm Chris Everly.
Comic Geek Speak.
And welcome to the show. It's been a while since we've had us all on the line.
Mm-hmm.
I had a little time away from the show. Yay!
There's a little red button here at the bottom of the screen.
Uh-huh.
If I hit that, does that disconnect any? Looking at Chris as he's dancing around.
Does
Does that disconnect anybody? Click.
Yes, I am just happy to see Chris's jubilant gyrations on the screen again, because it means that the internet, well, for one thing, I just like to see and hear Chris unmarred by
Jubilate and gyrate.
interruptions in service. But yeah, it just shows that everything is where it needs to be, and everyone is where they need to be. The internet is working, and Chris is using it to commune long distance with us again, and I, for one, am thrilled.
Here, here, brother. I did those gyrations for you.
Well, let's not jinx it, but let's go
Now
on.
you did.
It's true. The night is
I
young.
did it. All right, so again, these comic talks are all over the place stuff. I have some topics. I'm sure you guys have some topics. But before we get into the fun and frivolity, first, a word from our sponsor. This episode of A Comic Geek Speak is brought to you by the Denver Independent Comics and Art Expo, otherwise known as DINK, happening April 14th and 15th this year at the, let me get the actual address here, the McNichols Civic Center in Denver, Colorado. This is, obviously, it's an independent convention with a lot of independent creators and artists. Also brought to you and sort of run by our good friend Charlie LaGreca, better known as Charlito.
Of the Indie Spinner Rack podcast.
Yes. Hello, Charlito. Yes. And they've got quite a guest list already amassed for their featured guests, including, but not limited to, Danielle Corsetto.
Hey.
Yes.
Gerhard. Do you know who he's from?
I recognize the name, but...
That's Cerebus, isn't
That's
it?
correct, yes.
Nice.
Of course, also Jeff Lemire, James O'Barr from The Crow, Jeffrey Brown, Jim Mahfood, Joe Kelly, a lot of J's there, and Matt Kint.
Wow.
So check that out. And also, they want us to mention, they do have something coming up called the Dinky Awards. Right now, they have a call out to all artists and independent publishers to submit for the Central West's only comic and art awards, the 2018 Dinky Awards. It was launched 3 years ago as part of the Denver Independent Comic and Art Expo, also known as DINK. The Dinkies were the first ever Colorado awards to feature comics. And, of course, created in part by Charlie LaGreca, the innovator and co-founder of both Denver Comic-Con and DINK, and Ted Intorico, publisher of award-winning Tinto Press. The Dinkies are a way to recognize excellence, promote independent art, and create a level playing field in which work is judged for its merits, not the strength of its marketing campaign. The goal of Dinkies is to not only support, inspire, and create a sense of encouragement among the worldwide community of independent creators, cartoonists, artists, and publishers, but also to serve to connect great work to a wider intended audience. And the Dinkies feature over 10 diverse categories and an unforgettable award ceremony with celebrity host Drunk Vanna White. The submission deadline is coming very soon, so to submit your comic, graphic novel, or zine today, or to see previous winners, go to dinkdenver.com. Now, the work must be published between December 1st, 2016, and the 31st of December, 2017. This is handcrafted, and custom designed, all for the love of comics. dinkdenver.com. So there you go. All right. Well, let's first, before we get too far away, I don't want to forget, we also have some, you mentioned last time, Murd, you had some mail in the studio. You did open some of the mail.
Some of it, yes.
But this comes to us from Johnny McCloskey. And he has a little something for each of us. You as well, Chris. I will.
Ah.
I will pass one to Shane. I will pass one to the Murd.
Face down.
And I will read what Chris we have for you. I don't know if is the camera on? Probably not.
Probably not.
Don't worry about it.
We could turn it on.
That's okay. Chris, we have for you a 1 in 25 variant by Trevor Von Eden of Power Man and Iron Fist #1.
Nice.
Ooh, wonderful! Thank you. What a wonderful gift.
That's nice.
So we'll get that for you. Shane, reveal.
Oh, I have a Justice League of America number 217. Awesome cover.
Awesome George Perez cover.
Oh my God, it's gorgeous. I think they have a T-shirt of that out.
They
too.
do. That's one of the very popular T-shirt designs. Very iconic cover.
Fantastic, and I love the bag and board that it's in.
Mylar, baby. Mylar.
Thank you very much.
It's a classic League lineup on that cover, too.
Oh yeah.
And, this felt kind of like it didn't contain an actual comic, and it doesn't. But, yeah, I don't... you know what? I think it's an Andy Price sketch.
It is.
Yep, it's on a little rectangular piece of paper. It's a Bizarro pony, and Andy, like so many other artists, can't remember that Bizarro contains one Z and two R's, but we'll forgive him for that. It's a Bizarro pony, and he is saying, "Me am hate my little pony."
Because Johnny mentioned before to me that he had a sketch for Murd. I wouldn't know where to set it to it, so that is the sketch.
Would it be also Hain instead of Nay Nay?
Oh, now you're thinking too much here, Shane. And I have, wow, this is amazing. This is I would say a good / very good copy of Superboy number 78 from the Silver Age, which featuring a couple of stories, including Claire Kent, alias Super Sister. Also has the origin of Superboy's super costume, as well as the Ghost of Jor-El story featuring the origin of Mix's Pitlick.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Damn, that's good comics. Look at those 3 stories here, all in one.
Silver Age Splendor.
There's also a Casey the Cop strip inside of there as well.
Casey the Cop.
And this is actually, I do not have this issue because I have a little bit of Superboy in the Silver Age, but so this is very, very much appreciated.
I'll
Thank
tell you what.
very much, Johnny. It's
Good job, Johnny.
Thank you.
on Tickling each of
Thank
our
you.
respective fancies.
Now
Excellent.
I did not open mine yet because it looks perfectly perfect in here. But
perfectly
my
perfect.
Goodness, this cover looks immaculate. And the pages, just from the edges, usually on an older book, even like this, the top's a little bit yellowed or something. But man, it just looks gorgeous. Wow.
Well, you have to at least smell the comic at some point, Shane.
Well, I will do that.
Well, Johnny, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Very, very
Thank
nice.
you. Thank you.
I'm going to just keep... Oh, I'm sorry, Shane.
We're getting to the point in the weather right now where spring's just starting to show its head a little bit. Mm-hmm. And when the temperature's just right and the humidity's just right, I walk into my comic room and boy, does it smell like a comic store. Oh, God.
Yes.
I love spring and fall for
yes.
that, for those reasons alone. You can kind of waft it going up the stairs. You open the door and boy, it just hits you like, oh, comic
Right.
store.
All the loose particles that have been bound up in solid matter over the winter start being effused back into the air as the temperatures rise. Yes.
It happened once a little bit the other week. Oh.
All right. Well, I'm going to keep rolling on here. I've been...
Before you roll.
okay.
Moving
Yeah.
right along.
Yeah, I probably should have gotten this closer to the sponsorship
Oh,
announcements,
yeah.
actually.
I'm
But,
sorry. Go right ahead, Shane.
Another in-house announcement here
Yes.
from Comic Geek Speak. It is that time of year again for the Comic Geek Speak Best of Awards. This year, of course, being the Best of 2017 Awards, celebrating the best creators, comics, etc. that our hobby had to offer in the recently concluded year of 2017. And as always, we look to you, the listeners, to help us with this process. Usually we nominate different people in comics across a range of 16 categories. Each participating host nominates something for each category, but we also need listener nominees. And so we are turning that over to you folks. For full details about how you can participate in the Best of Awards process, go to thecomicforums.vanillaforums.com, go to the main page, the Comic Talk community, the On Topic forum, and near the top of that page you will find a thread about the Best of Awards, where you can find a complete list of all 16 categories in which we are seeking nominees, Best Limited Series, Best Writer, and so forth. Take a look at that. Think about what or whom you would like to nominate for each of those categories, and then write them all down and email them to bestof@comicgeekspeak.com before 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, March 11th. Please nominate only one person or thing for each category. No ties, no 2 or 3-way ties, just one nominee per category. And please nominate something or someone for at least 8 of the 16 categories. If you can't think of anybody to nominate for Best Letterer, we forgive you. But please at least nominate something for half of those categories, or your ballot will be considered incomplete and invalid. So, if you would like to make your voice heard in this year's Best of Awards, you have until Sunday, March 11th. That address again is bestof@comicgeekspeak.com. Vote early. Vote once.
That's exactly right. And you're more than welcome to post your picks on the forum, but they will only count if they're emailed to the bestof@comicgeekspeak.com email address.
That is correct.
Yes.
As I do read that thread from time to time, but I do not count anything posted there as an official ballot.
That's correct. You are part of the tabulating community, the Price Waterhouse of Comic Geek Speak, if you will. What's that law from has all the L's from Daredevil?
Oh, Landau, Luckman, and Lake.
That's the one. I knew you would know that. All right, rolling on. Another sort of announcement kind of thing. We here at Comic Geek Speak have been kicking around the idea of starting a Patreon page because I've been told that Patreon is a new hotness. So I'm soliciting some of what you think you'd like to see us do as like bonuses for basically Patreon is you can give like $1 a month or $2 a month or whatever, and it's completely separate from the actual Comic Geek Speak podcast. This podcast will continue to go on free forever, but we might give some bonus content for people who support the show because we could use some extra things every now and then. Laptops, things cost money, so instead of just ask for donations, this is actually a way to give things back to you. So what kind of, if we go through this, we probably will, what kind of things would you like to see? Whether it's like exclusive episodes, giveaways, what have you there. Let us know. You can email us at comicgeekspeak@gmail.com, and I will start a forum thread on the main thing about, Patreon ideas. So just something to throw out there. We've been toying around with it for a while. I have a lot of listeners who've come to me and said you should do a Patreon. I asked them what their ideas were, so I'm going to throw out to the rest, as a gesture, the rest of the CGS vast
wider community.
Because I know a lot of other podcasts have Patreon pages. So we're probably going to go that direction, so I just wanted to throw that out there now. So there you go. So again, I'm going to keep rolling on here. I was away 2 weeks ago. I was out in sunny Southern California,
sunny.
Los Angeles, California. I got to tell you, I've been out to Southern California the last 12 years, at least once a year. And every time I'm at the airport, I don't want to go home. I just want to stay out here because it's so wonderful out there. Although it did rain last year awfully bad. But, man, I just love going out to California. But my main goal was to go out there for the Gallifrey 1 Doctor Who convention, which I'll get to in a minute. But yeah, I had a free day on the Thursday before the show started, so I got my butt up to Hollywood and was doing the little touristy thing, walking around.
Hollywood.
Well, I ended up literally walking down Hollywood Boulevard, sort of looking with my head down, watching all the stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame as I'm walking by, and I did see the Adam West star as I was just to turn the corner to go to the Hollywood Museum, which is one of my main goals, because they had an exhibit there on the Batman 66 TV show.
Just the pictures I've seen online.
Those shots you put on Facebook were drool-worthy. I
only put a couple on there. I know people wanted more, but it's like, it was really cool. Now, when the show ended, I think it's pretty well known. The sets were knocked down,
destroyed,
and very few of the costumes, original costumes, survived, and those that did really weren't taken care of very well. But this exhibit managed to get pretty much what was available and put them on display.
Now, did they borrow them or purchase them?
I believe they borrowed them. I don't have the specifics of that, but there's a lot of people out there who donated things. There's little placards, by the courtesy of so and so.
That's awesome.
But they had a lot of the original costumes there. For Catwoman, Riddler, of course. Batman and Robin. A couple of the false face costumes, one of the Mr. Freeze costumes.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That was nice. And then they had some other props, which some were original, some I think were reconstructed, but they had a Batmobile. And this is on the third floor, like the Max Factor building. The Max Factor building, the way the famous makeup artist.
Yeah.
They had a Batmobile up on the third floor,
Wow.
for goodness sake. They had some bat poles.
Oh,
They had all kinds of ephemera, like collectible trading cards, scripts, photos. It was a hoot and a half, Shane.
wow.
I'm sorry you couldn't make it out there.
That would be cool.
But I just lucked out that it was a very short run. I think only from January of this year, I think like till April.
Yeah,
I just
I knew it was
happened
short.
to catch the time right, and it was neat. And I spent about 2.5 hours in there because there was many other things besides the Batman exhibit in there. They had some things on Marilyn Monroe. They had down in the basement a whole little like horror setup there. You could sort of like walk through the Silence of the Lambs, kind of like dungeon. They had like
oh,
some.
boy.
I mean,
I don't know if I'd have done that.
Well, it was fine. They had a bunch of props from like Friday the 13th and some things, some Hitchcock things down there. They had other props from their TV shows. They had the Beverly Hillbillies, jalopy with Granny and Jethro and Ellie Mae and Grant. Did I mention everybody there? And Jed and the dog all in the aisle. They had that. It was. I spent like 2.5 hours in there. They had like autographs. They had great pictures, and it was really cool.
That's cool.
I know it's a touristy kind of thing to do, but I had a free day to walk around, so I did that. It was only $15 to get it. Yeah, and it was really cool.
Jeez.
So again, I was walking. I kept walking around the Hollywood Boulevard, keep my head down and looking around, and then not too far away from there was a Madame Tussauds wax museum.
Yep.
And I knew they had like a Marvel exhibit there with a lot of Marvel, and they had like a little 4D interactive movie where you're sitting there and they have things on the screen and like your seat jolts, they spritz water out. That was also pretty cool. Again, it's a touristy thing to do.
Have you ever seen one of those before?
No.
I've been in the Muppets when they used to do it down at Disney, and the Terminator when they used to have that years ago. They're fun when they do the 4D thing with all the stuff spitting at you and smells and smoke coming out at you. The one with the Muppets had at one part mice came off the screen and were running through the audience supposedly. So all these little lights started flashing, making it look like they were running past all the little aisle lights, but also little puffs of air kept going past you at your legs.
Yeah.
It was cool. I love them.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Huh. What did you see that was the movie? Just like a hodgepodge of things, or
it was like an animated thing where Tony Stark was giving a presentation, and then Dr. Doom came in, and the rest of the Avengers came in, Spider-Man, the Hulk, Cap and Thor, and there's lightning and there's things, and it was pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And they could have had some amazing wax likenesses there of the Marvel heroes and the Marvel movie actors, as well as many other TV and movie stars. That was pretty cool. I mean, they went back as far back as they had some stuff from like Gone with the Wind. Wow. They had like Howard Hughes stuff.
The last wax museum I was in was when I was in England in high school, and that was pretty impressive. And it can only have gotten better since then.
Like I said, it was my free day to roam around Hollywood. And then my goal that evening was I met up with the Benson sisters, Julie and Shauna. I sort of kind of like how I invited myself to Matt's Super Bowl party. I kind of invited myself with them to go see the Black Panther movie that night when it premiered. Well, I mean, I talked to him way back in September about it, and I reminded him when I was in D.C. I said, guys still come along to the movie? I said, well, if we're not washing our hair that night, pants, maybe we'll go see the movie. But so that was pretty cool, and also listener Kurt Matilla joined us there, who actually, he's the one responsible. It's his fault. He got Julie to listen to the show way back when. So he was asking all kinds of questions about the show, and I think I answered them mostly, and honestly, but... So that was a fun time, seeing the Black Panther movie in Hollywood with some geek friends. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
And I actually seen it twice now. I saw it when I got back home here again. And, I can't do any more than you guys already did talking about the movie on the episode. But it was just really cool seeing with the people were yelling and clapping in the movie theater. It was a pretty packed theater. It was Thursday night showing.
Wow. And
as the movie ended and they had the mid-credits scene, and then there was the credits. And I don't know why, I've been talking out loud. what's the last bonus credit thing going to be? And I realized that I'd watched a couple movies to get ready for this, so I saw Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah.
And at the end of that movie, of course, we see that Bucky is, frozen in Wakanda.
Yeah.
And so I'm talking about it. I turned to Sean and I said, I bet you there's going to be a thing with Bucky. And damn, there's Bucky on the screen. So actually, because I never think about these things. I got that one right. And in the second viewing of it, when Shuri has that line, when Martin Freeman's character comes in and does, oh, another broken white boy to fix.
Yep.
It's like, that's why he's saying that.
The kids asked me why that was. Well, here's why.
So now you finally saw it as well, Shane.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I loved it. It's I can't put it in my top 5, but it's definitely in my top 10 of the Marvel movies. It was a lot of fun to watch. I took the kids. I wanted to go opening weekend, and that just didn't happen. And then we had one of Ben's games for soccer canceled, and it opened up a few hours. So I went looking online for tickets all around here, and everyone was sold out, except for the IMAX in Reading.
Oh, so you finally went down there?
Well, I go down there every now and then. I saw the last 2 Star Wars movies in there on opening night because of what event we get to go to when that happens. I actually saw it in IMAX. And thinking that...
it was 2D, I believe, right?
Yes. So when you walk into the theater, you go to the right for one of the big theaters, and then you go to the left for the IMAX theater.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to the right to the big theater. I thought that was IMAX, not thinking exactly what I was
They tell you
seeing.
which way it is, Shane.
No. When I ordered the tickets online.
Uh-huh.
So I just ordered IMAX, thinking, okay, well, that's the big theater to the right. Either way, there's theater to the right. That's where we're going. So I know how far that theater is spaced from the screen. So I ordered tickets in the front row of the second section. After you have like the first 5 or 6, you have a break and have a huge space to walk through, and then you have the first row. I've sat in that row to watch movies, and it's perfectly fine. That's not where it is in an IMAX.
It's
a little bit closer.
Yeah, I know.
So there's like 3, and then this tiny little space, and then right there. So me and the boys, we all sit down, and I'm like, shit, this is what I wanted. I suppose we could have just moved back because it really was not full, which I was surprised. Everywhere else sold out. This one wasn't. But within the first couple minutes, I got used to it. The worst part about it, we must have been directly under where a speaker was blaring to the audience because that sucker was so loud. I had such a headache when I left there just from it being loud. But it didn't detract from any enjoyment of the movie. It just, my ears were ringing when I left.
I'm sorry, what?
But it was...
So Shane, what did you think of the movie in general?
It was really well done. It looked beautiful. Loved all the casting of the characters. I didn't think Martin Freeman would be in it the way he was in it. I thought he'd be in it more like an official capacity where he's the liaison between them, but he just kind of came along once they met up and was along for the ride then because he got hurt. That kind of surprised me a little bit, but it was still very well done. It was still fantastic. I heard that the original cut was like 4 hours.
Yeah.
God, I would love to see that cut. I cannot imagine what they didn't have in it that wasn't already in it. Like, what else could you add to it? It was pretty well done the way it was. I can't think of anything else that would be another hour and 45 minutes that would make it better, which maybe that's why they cut it down. But still, I'd still love to see if they have that much footage for the story and they had an actual cut. I'd love to see it.
They had a whole fictional nation and hundreds of thousands of years of fictional history to go through. But something tells me this movie being as successful as it was in its first couple of weeks.
What, $328 million the first weekend or something like that?
Wow. Like that.
It's now grossed over $700 million worldwide.
That's insane.
Yeah, there's going to be a market for that additional footage.
I hope
get
so.
the feeling. So
Sign me up for it, baby.
Yeah.
My God, yes.
I thought everyone's acting was spot on. Some of it I didn't see coming, and I love watching all the trailers, but I don't sit there and try to figure out the plot by any means. I didn't necessarily think about how Killmonger and his family fit into it when you first see the beginning. Once it happened, I'm like, oh, of course, that makes perfect sense now. But yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was very well done. Spectacular effects. Love their entire city, the way it looks, the way they
it
walk
was
you through a
perfect.
little bit of it, man, just beautiful. I love the message through it at the end with his little UN speech. I liked how he really almost wrestled with wanting to help the world, yet listening to the rest of the council say, no, we don't do that. But he, in the end, just said, yeah, we're going to do that because now it's time. What a great way to bring that character into full force into the Marvel Universe.
Well, if I may, because I saw it a second time, and I, as much as I loved it the first time, I got even more out of it with a second viewing. And I think one of the things I like best about the movie, to piggyback on what you just said, Shane, is that we have to remember when the movie starts, T'Challa is just becoming the king.
Mm-hmm.
So, bearing that in mind, he wasn't necessarily like the sort of omniscient Black Panther you're accustomed to, because he's just starting that role, essentially. And I think what I really appreciate by the end of the movie, you see him now really becoming the king of Wakanda, and putting his stamp on what that's going to mean for his nation and its interactions with the world. And it made I really want to give the screenwriters, the director, credit, because the plot device of him really being disillusioned by what his father did, I think really ultimately made that film.
Oh, yeah.
And like that's not from the comics. They just made that up for everything else in that movie was right from the comics, but that's the one thing they kind of added into it. And I thought it was a brilliant narrative device because, again, it gave him a sense of turmoil and not sure how he should proceed. And I love when stories sort of shake the foundations and expectations that people have in a certain, government or world or what have you, and that's so appropriate for a Black Panther story, and they just did it masterfully. So I appreciate that even more.
And that decision his father made is not... I don't want to say it was a wrong decision. That's not what I mean. It was what he thought was best for Wakanda. And that's what a king does.
And I agree, because it shows you the burden someone in that position would have to bear.
Yeah.
I mean, to protect Zori, he kills his own brother in that split second of decision making. And so I didn't come away from this scene, thinking T'Chaka is a villain. It's just that he's a king and he was in this horrible position. And then that's what happened. But T'Challa's reaction to it, I mean, how he decided to proceed, even like, he's like the first king to go see M'Baku, right? The White Gorilla Clan. They just nailed it.
And still then at the end, not only offering his cousin a way to survive and try to make amends, but then bringing him out to show him the sunset in Wakanda, like he said his father always would. Just a very powerful ending to that whole movie.
And by the way, I want to give a shout out to our dear friend Dan Kingill in Pittsburgh, because he made a comment about the movie that I didn't think about. I think he was spot on when we talk about the character of Shuri, his sister, and how they kind of changed her role a bit, and I thought wonderfully for the movie.
Yeah.
And Dan said, she's Queen Divine Justice from the Priest run. I'm like, oh my God, Dan, you're right. Like that's I didn't think about it until he said it, but the way she's talking and interacting with him, and she's kind of irreverent and her humor, I'm like, oh, of course, they basically blended those two characters.
Yeah.
That was one character that I was kind of hoping that we would get in the movie, and that we ultimately didn't. But you got to leave something for the sequel, after all.
Yeah, but Shuri, I mean, she kind of sort of is that character. But we'll see though, Murd. You never know.
Well, since N'Jadaka is off the table, you need somebody else to represent the African-American perspective in the next movie. And I
That's
think
true.
Shantae Giovanni Brown, a.k.a. Queen Divine Justice, would be the perfect mouthpiece for that. So maybe we'll see
Indeed.
how she plays off of Shuri in the next movie.
That's a good point.
One thing that I saw later on afterwards is that the actor playing young T'Chaka is actually the son of the actor who played the older T'Chaka.
Nice.
Oh.
I love
And
that
the
they do
actor
that.
playing young Zuri is related to Forrest Whitaker.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that.
Nice.
That's really cool.
Yep.
So, I mean, spot-on casting with that again.
Absolutely love when they can pull in. Well, it's just like on Doctor Who. What's her name's cousin played the younger version of Amy Pond.
Oh, yeah.
I just
Karen Gillan, yeah.
When you can do that, man, it just works. It just makes it so much more of an enjoyable experience.
And if I can segue from that into Doctor Who again in Gallifrey 1, well, because I have a few things. So, again, I was out there for the convention. It was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday convention. And big thank you to listener Rod Hedrick, who actually is my roommate out there. And he's been doing this for like 9 years. This is my 4th time out there, so I always look to him for guidance and things. And Shane, actually, I want to do it on the air so he knows I gave it to you. He had a couple of extra in his collection audio dramas from Doctor Who, so I have for you Tom Baker, Last of the Colophon, and White Ghost. I'm giving to you, so you have them officially on the air. So thank you again, Rod, for...
I can't wait to listen to these. That's fantastic.
But yeah, the Gallifrey 1 convention, it's a Doctor Who fan-run convention. It's not for profit. This is their 29th convention they've run of this. And it's pretty much, limited tickets. With the ticket holders, attendees, and guests, there was actually just under 4,000 people there.
Wow.
So it was somewhat intimate, if you will.
Yeah.
They have panel tracks all throughout the weekend. They have signings. You can get photos with the cast and crew. They've got some great panels. Friday, I sat in the main panel room, which probably holds maybe 2,000 or so it holds. And I just sort of squatted there, which you can do. And this are the panels that I saw on Friday. I saw David Bradley talk, of course, because he was there. He played the first Doctor in the also in the
anniversary special.
Yeah, the Space and Time.
Yeah.
As well as the Twice Upon a Time. He played the first Doctor in the most recent Doctor episode, the Christmas special. Interviewed him for an hour. Then follow that was Gemma Redgrave was on.
Wow.
Then following that was Sylvester McCoy and Sophie Allred, the 7th Doctor and Ace. Now, I had never been at a convention where I've seen Sylvester McCoy before.
Yeah.
So I did get a picture with him. I did post that online.
Yeah.
But this panel was just out of the world because it had wireless microphones. They were walking all through the audience, taking questions and interacting. It was hysterical. It was so much fun.
Just the little bit I've seen online of him, he looks like he puts on a great show or panel for anybody.
Yeah. That was just because you think, that's good. No, there was no moderator. It was just the two of them running the whole thing, and they did a great job.
A picture has surfaced on Facebook of Sylvester McCoy walking right past your seat, and you sitting there just beaming up at him.
Yeah. That was taken by another shout-out, another listener, longtime listener, on the forum known as Fade to Black. His real name is Trevor. Oh, boy, how am I going to yikes a hootie here with this? Veda Boncoeur. Oh, boy. VADEBONCOEUR.
It's pretty definitely French, and that's not exactly my specialty.
Okay.
And especially if it's anglicized French, it could go a number of different ways. Right. But he can point it out to us.
Yeah, but he's a long-time
listener. Bunker is my guess.
Long-time listener. He actually saved our episode 1000 recording when we lost the audio.
That's right.
He recorded the video because he was away. He's also does his own podcast with other people about Doctor Who, Wonders in the Fourth Dimension. But yeah, I was in the audience. He took a shot because he was not too far away from me. So it was good to see another listener out there. So that was very cool. But then after that panel with Sylvester McCoy and Sophie Aldred, the guest of honor, Stephen Moffat, had a panel.
Wow.
Because he's been the showrunner for the last, I think, like 8 years with Doctor Who. Of course, wrote a couple of the early episodes with Russell T Davies. Of course, he was responsible for coupling, which I love to death.
That's an awesome
and that, again, was another tremendous panel. He went into some detail about the 50th anniversary show, The Day of the Doctor, where how he pretty much didn't have anybody under contract when he was writing the episode, no doctors, and then how he tried to get Christopher Eccleston back in, and he told a great story about that. And they opened out with a bunch of great questions. A couple of the questions were kind of cheeky, but it was such a professional and just so spot on in his. I mean, if you've seen him talk on the bonus episodes of Doctor Who, I was so happy to actually meet him and hear him talk. It was delightful. I'm looking forward to going again next year. It's going to be their 30th convention. Well, you look at Shane.
No, that's his 30th convention. That it's their 30th.
Well,
convention.
yeah. But I mean, any excuse to go out to Southern California. And not that I need an excuse, but that was just so much fun to see that. Well, let's see. I got some more things to talk about. If you don't have anything, I'm going to keep going.
I have something to shout out, Pants.
Go right ahead.
just some comic news. I noticed in the New York Times today that Ta-Nehisi Coates is going to be taking over the writing chores on Captain America.
Yes.
Starting this summer in July. And the Times interviewed him about it. As we all know, he's been writing the Black Panther comic for the past couple years and doing a fine job as far as I'm concerned. And he's going to be – he was talking about how, he has very mixed feelings about concepts like patriotism. He talked about how the challenge for him is going to be not to put his words in Captain America's mouth, but to have Captain America's words sort of in his head and coming through him. So I'm really interested to see how he's going to approach this character. I think he's done fine work in the Black Panther. So I'm really excited to see. I think they're starting the book at number 1 again when he takes over, no doubt to try to get more people to buy it. But I'm really interested to see his take on this character. So that was in the New York Times today.
I have to say I'm terribly disappointed that they're renumbering everything yet again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why they just went back to legacy numbering at Marvel. I was thrilled. Now that's going to get the axe already.
Yeah, a lot of confusion.
Well, Shane, you have to remember, and I'm not saying this to be negative. It's just reality. This is that floppy format is flailing in its death throes, basically. So they're going to try to do anything they can to get people to buy these comics.
Oh, sure.
So, and I have to say, I went into the shop is a shop near me, and sometimes when I forget to order something on DCB service, I'll stop in there and pick something up. So I bought 2 comics. It cost me over $8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Come on.
It's tough.
Come on, it's no. That's what I have to say about that.
If I can go back to a minute to Gallifrey 1, they also have these little things called coffee clatches, where they'll have a little room where maybe about 10 to 12 people can go in and have a private discussion with a couple of people who work with Doctor Who or related to Doctor Who. And so I signed up for one Saturday afternoon with David and Scott Tipton, the Tipton brothers, and J.K. Woodward.
I thought he had
Wow,
one.
fantastic.
So now J.K. was supposed to bring along, I think, some signed scripts, but he forgot them. So J.K., I'm waiting for mine to come in the mail. But they talked about, because of course they've worked on with Doctor Who. They worked on the Tipton brothers' A Prisoner of Time, the anniversary comic, 12 issues. That was kind of interesting. But they also do the Star Trek comics with J.K. and Broken Mirror. Mm-hmm. Now, Shane, have you heard since then the announcement that IDW is going to have a weekly 5-week Star Trek The Next Generation Through the Mirror series in May?
Oh, I did.
Oh.
Fantastical.
So that should be in that was announced the week after, but I found out about that at the panel. And J.K. brought the original artwork to the 5 covers.
Oh.
And it's an interconnecting image. Now, normally, when they have these covers, they would probably go left to right.
Yeah.
No, he has them going one up and down. So he laid them on the table, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, going down. The original covers, they're huge. And I said, how did you do that? He actually had to redesign his studio to make these covers.
Jeez.
So I was like, holy cow, that's cool. So I know you're a big fan of the Broken Mirror stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, JK's work in general.
Oh, yeah. I loved, he did a video tour of his studio one time. It's just spectacular. I haven't seen lately, I haven't had time to really look either. I love when he posts either a time-lapse video of his work or when he's interactive with everybody on Facebook while he live streams. Mm-hmm. So much fun to watch.
And the main covers are online. You can see and connect. I saw the original art for that. But it says, because you demanded it, following up the smash hit miniseries Mirror Broken, the Mirror Universe Next Generation crew is looking for new worlds to conquer, and they're crossing over to the Prime Star Trek universe to find them. Also in each issue, just how did the Mirror Universe crew find their way to ours, and what does Emperor Spock have to do with it? Backup stories, every issue illustrated by Mirror Broken co-creator J.K. Woodward.
Oh, can't wait for that. Woo!
So I think it's got to be in the next previews of that's coming out.
I think it will, yes.
That's fantastic.
Actually, David D. on the forums posted some links to upcoming stuff from the month of May from IDW and Boom Studios, and that was definitely one of them.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Let us bask in the radiance of a Pants who has returned triumphant from the West Coast as a bearer of glad tidings. Well done, sir.
Thank you so much. Now, when I was out in California, happening at the same time in New York City was the 2018 Toy Fair.
Yep, I caught a couple things. I didn't get to see, or normally I stumble across things. There's plenty of articles I see. I didn't see that this year.
I was going to ask you, and now you've let me down, Shane, because I haven't seen too much. But what I did see...
I saw the Lego stuff. That's really all I saw.
What Lego stuff do you see?
And it was announced in the new Iron Man... oh my God, what's from Age of Ultron?
The Avengers Age of Ultron movie?
The suit.
Oh, the
Yeah.
suit?
Hulkbuster?
Yeah, but what did he call it in that? It had a name. girl's name.
Hulkbuster? Oh, was it Veronica?
Veronica. They have a Lego of that coming out.
Oh, my goodness.
Which looks really neat. And some stuff for their 60th anniversary and some of the newer sets that I had already seen. They showed again, different things. But that's the only thing I really saw. I didn't see a whole lot of coverage about anything.
Okay. Well, I know that as we record this, it's the last day of February, but starting in March 1st through like March 3rd, there are a slew of toys coming out for the Avengers Infinity movie.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'm going to have to like close my eyes and walking around the store because there'll be spoil. I mean, I know we're getting in an Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh, yeah.
I know we're getting that.
Figured that. It's probably foam even.
Probably. But there's Lego sets, there's action figures, there's pop figures, all kinds of stuff. But the one thing I did see come out of Toy Fair, they're making Doomsday Clock figures from DC Collectibles.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
3 sets of 2-packs. The first one is going to be in the next previews of Dr. Manhattan and Ozymandias.
Okay.
Now, of course, they're going to do sets for Mime and Marionette, but they're not going to be together.
Oh, of course.
That's a rip.
Yeah. They're having the Marionette with a comedian and the Mime with Rorschach. That's how they get you. Because I would probably buy a 2-pack. I know you would probably. Well, maybe.
A 2-pack, yes, I would. But if I have to buy 2 different 2-packs to get them together.
Mime and Marionette. So
Never mind.
I saw that. I'm like, oh, that's good, but it's like, oh, not so good.
It just
While we're talking about toys here, Shane, you want to open up that blue bag over there?
Pants sent me a text the other day. What was that, a week ago?
No, it was like
Monday? Sunday? Something.
Thursday. It might have been Thursday.
And
Friday. It was Friday. I don't know.
Was I looking?
Yeah, I'm an enabler. Whenever I see things come in the store,
that's true.
I just text Shane. You got to get these toys.
And these are Mega Constructs figures, which I knew were out there, but I saw them when they had the whole Star Trek series going on, which I know that on the back of this they show a Kirk and a Spock from Amok Time, I think it is, and 2 He-Man figures. God, I can't even tell who it is, really. But these 2 are Fry and Bender from Futurama. I thought, now that I've seen them, I remember seeing pictures of these. I think there's vehicles coming. I think they're coming with a ship. Or
Keep watching your phone
Express
for
ship?
text.
Planet
Shane.
Express ship.
Scooty Puff Jr.?
Yeah, something. With more figures to come with those. I thought I saw that. Now that I have them, I'm going to go do a little bit more research.
Okay.
But they're tiny. They're only like
3 inches, maybe?
not even that, maybe. But they're with the Mega Construct, so you can kind of build them with Lego-y like things. Mega Constructs vehicles and different things. They had, when the Star Trek movies were coming back out, they had a whole slew of them back then. Different bridge sets, transporter set stuff. So that's pretty cool. They look really, really neat. Bender comes with a can of robot oil and a money bag, and Fry comes with
Slurm, I think?
Slurm and money. Which I'm wondering if it's not that...
The Tricky Dick Fun Bill?
Yeah. I can't even see with my glasses on if that's what it is.
Oh, yeah, it's the $300 Nixon. The tax rebate.
Well, I'm happy I could put you further in debt with your toy buying, Shane.
Well, buy one, get one half off. That's not a bad price.
Yeah, it was a pretty good deal. I actually have a couple of quick movie things. I don't usually go out to the movies too often, but I'm going to go see this movie coming up this weekend. I have the new Black Widow. Oh, I'm sorry, the new Red Sparrow movie coming out.
Right? I cannot figure out how they got that movie made and have not been sued or talked about in some fashion.
Especially after Agent Carter, when the whole Red Room thing was such a central part of that plot.
I mean, it looks spectacular, but I'm half wondering if you're not going to get to the theater, sit down to see it, and a big Marvel symbol is going to pop up, and it's all a red herring up to that point.
No, but I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to go.
It looks really good.
See that. Comes out this weekend, and
yeah,
maybe go see a matinee on Tuesday when it's cheaper.
Well, I saw a wonderful interview on Colbert with Jennifer Lawrence where
I saw that too.
She basically got drunk.
Yes,
it was hilarious. She is. I mean, I've always enjoyed her acting. I think she's an outstanding actress. But she was so funny and good humored in that interview. She just strikes me as just someone who's probably just a hell of a lot of fun to hang out with.
She is a great talk show guest. When I've seen her on Letterman in the past, and I only saw this one because somebody alerted me on Letterman News Group, hey, you should watch this, because otherwise I wouldn't have watched Colbert at all.
Okay.
But yeah, it was, so yeah, looking forward to that. Now, the other movie news now, Chris, please hold your ooh-ahs till the very end. Have you seen the report that Brian K. Vaughan is writing a Silver Surfer movie for Fox?
His arms just went up.
Oh, I had no idea. Pants. Did I say the bearer of glad tidings? That's the bearer of glorious tidings.
I think the news...
You just want to, like, hug this guy, for Pete's sake. Man.
Well, there is a small fee for that involved, because usually I say, like, don't touch me, but... I just saw that today. I'm like, I almost plotzed.
Wow.
It's like, oh my God. I mean, Brian K. Vaughan, who's, done other things. He wrote for Lost.
Yeah, he did.
So he's, straight away from comics, which, I mean, speaking of comics, we'll get to that in a minute. I'm pointing at you there, Murd.
Okay.
But, Silver Surfer and Brian K. Vaughan?
Wow.
Take my money. Take my money now.
Under Marvel Universe or under Fox? I mean, not that it matters much.
That's a great question.
I'm just curious.
And again, it's above my pay grade with the whole legal thing and
didn't know if it
Fox
said that
and
in
licensing and yada yada yada. But again, it's been announced. It could never happen. You never know. Until my ass is in the theater sitting there watching it come on the screen, I'm going to hold my breath.
That's right. Motion picture.
Go ahead, Murd. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine, Chris. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, to kind of add on to that, in terms of great writers getting their work on the screen, I don't know if any of the rest of you read Greg Rucka and Michael Lark's Lazarus, but Rucka's been talking about in the letters page that may very well be coming to television.
Oh, wow.
I believe, Mr. Eberly, I did mention that to you some time ago on the air.
Oh.
Come on.
Sorry there, Pants Whovian. I was just reacting to what I read.
And do for you kids, and this is the thanks I get.
He offered to hug you.
Yeah, come on. What
Pants, I just...
Roll to reach around and you got it.
I built you up to cult-like proportions there, honey. Come on.
Cult-like proportions? You're crazy.
Well, the Pants cult.
I just got knocked over by Pants' head.
What? Now let's see if we can continue the segueing into Brian K. Vaughan.
Hello. Okay, and he gives it off to me. Yes. Since we're on the subject of Brian K. Vaughan, and also since Pants was generous enough to allow me to borrow...
Wait a minute, you sound like kind of surprised that was generous enough.
No. I didn't mean to put a note of surprise in my voice there. No, it was supposed to be gratitude. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
I have a difficulty with emotional affect sometimes.
Murd read Private Eye.
Yes, Chris tumbled to it. Yes, that is absolutely the case. Brian serendipitously discovered his copy of The Private Eye at his house a little while ago, and he was like, oh, yes, Murd was talking about how he would like to read this recently. So he allowed me to borrow it before he departed for L.A.
When you open it, Hall & Oates don't sing, do they?
No, private eyes are not watching you.
Okay.
They don't see your every move. But yes, when you do open it, though, your own eyes might bug out of your skull, because just look at this beautiful package. I mean, this was a digital-first comic, right?
Yes.
So it was produced in the longer than high panel structure.
Perhaps widescreen with an apt description?
I was
perhaps. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't yell at me. Don't yell at me.
But
give me the look with those eyes.
Inspired by DC's Zuda project, though. They had admitted as much. But yes, the finished print hardcover that they ultimately produced and that Brian allowed me to borrow. It's a limited edition, too, complete with a little authentication card in the back.
I didn't even know I was in there.
Yeah, you have copy number 384 of 1,000.
Oh, wow. Ooh, look at me.
Wow.
I am looking at you.
Don't give me those looks with those eyes.
Yes, it's like 7.5 inches by 12.5 inches. So you open it, and there are no double-page splashes or anything, but it's still, it's pretty impactful once you open it up. Yes, widescreen is, of course, the word for a format like this. And the story, Chris predicted long ago that this was a perfect story for me to read, and Chris was, as usual, 100% accurate. It catered perfectly to my cultural pessimism, my own form of curmudgeonliness, because I think Brian K. Vaughan, to some extent, shares it. He and collaborator Marcos Martin were setting out to tell a story about a future world in which the internet no longer exists. Some great disaster, a netaclysm, you might call it. He calls it the cloudburst involving the internet, revealed everyone's entire internet-based history, all their deepest, darkest secrets to the rest of the world. Lives were destroyed, families torn apart, and American society was rocked to its core. And as a result, the United States became somewhat isolationist, and the individual citizens who were left standing in the wake of all this adopted various outlandish disguises that they would use when they went out in public. Called NIMS, as in pseudonyms or cryptonyms. And in this world, the clever concept, journalism, the distinction between journalism and law enforcement has vanished. The reporters are basically cops in the future world of 2076 when all this is going down. And there are still paparazzi in this world, and they are the private investigators, the people who go out on a limb to collect information illicitly and then trade it in a sort of black market fashion. And the protagonist, the private eye of the title, is one such person. And it's sort of a seamy neo-noir story set in 2076 Los Angeles in this fascinating post-internet world obsessed with its new post-cataclysmic concept of privacy. And it's a straight-ahead action and mystery story. It's quite fast-paced. It kept me engrossed from page one. You get to know a little bit about the main character, but in keeping with the theme of privacy, you really don't get to know that much about him. You meet his grandfather, a very entertaining character. He's like 90 years old. He's got this crusty old coot with
Great character.
thick plastic frame glasses, piercings and sleeve tattoos, and a wardrobe of old Kings of Leon T-shirts. He's nearly 90 in 2076, but he's probably a teenager or younger in the present day. And he's the one remaining bastion of the old pro-internet, millennial perspective on the world. How he's always holding forth about how he's proud of how much he shared publicly back in the old days, and he regrets nothing. And he's always cradling these old iPads and Blackberries he's got left over from the days when the internet still existed, and wondering what the heck happened. Why can't I get any bars with this thing? Because the internet doesn't exist anymore, Grandpa. So yeah, he is, as Chris said, a very entertaining character, and it's just kind of fun to think of that point of view becoming one day thoroughly obsolete, and the world moving back in the direction of phone booths and analog music and things like that. Wow. And so it's the story of a murder, and how that murder is tied into a conspiracy featuring what's basically a James Bond villain who's scheming to bring the internet back. So it's breakneck paced storytelling. It's very suspenseful, and the artwork by Marcos Martin. Oh my goodness!
Amazing.
His wife, I think, that provides some of the coloring. She's also credited. Her name is Munsa Vicente. And just these beautiful widescreen pages of his artwork. I mean, I'm really gaining new respect for Marcos Martin as one of the best storytellers in contemporary comics.
Amen.
We throw around the word cinematic frequently, and we usually use that to mean like epic action cinema, that kind of movie, widescreen, thrilling action storytelling. And there's certainly plenty of that in here. But Marcos Martin also skews towards more like art cinematic storytelling, like the way he constructs his mise en scène in these oddly shaped pages.
Mise en scène.
The way objects are framed within a panel, whether it's the point of view of a camera in filmmaking or panels and gutters in comics.
If I said it once, I said it a million times, dumb it down for Pants.
Pants Murd is here to edify for all.
Oh.
Okay, so the way he arranges things within a panel, and the way he sometimes uses panels that are just like still life shots of certain, as either to establish a scene or to convey an action without actually showing it happening. Just the way he doesn't have to telegraph everything he's telling us in his artwork. There's some subtlety in here, and that's highly commendable. He's like I said, I'm gaining new respect for him as one of the masters of the medium here in the 21st century. If I have one complaint about this, and it's a complimentary sort of complaint, it's that I wish the story were not so focused on the action of its own plot, to stop and pick around a little bit more in this world that Vaughan and Martin have constructed. I can't complain too loudly about that because I've taken, say, Jonathan Hickman to task for allowing his ideas, the themes he's trying to bring across, to bog down his storytelling. And now here we have the opposite situation where Vaughan is focused on telling a good story without too much didactic navel-gazing. The ending is somewhat tragic, but at least it's left open-ended so that there are a couple of different ways that, if they so chose, Vaughan and Martin could come back and revisit this world and maybe tell a story that's a little more leisurely paced so that they have a chance to make a few more statements on the central theme here about the nature of privacy in the early 21st century and maybe explore further this world they've created in which these castles in the air we've built in the cloud, the internet cloud, that is, the cyber cloud, come tumbling down, and what happens afterwards. I'd really like to see a little more thematic exploration. And hopefully they will indeed tell another private eye story, and we'll get to see a little more of that.
Murd, I'm glad that my prediction was accurate, and that you enjoyed it as much as you did, my friend.
My favorite quote, Chris, was, I don't like having a machine in my house that can hear what I'm saying. Well,
a Murdian
said,
quote,
P.I.
if there ever was one.
Yep. Oh, speaking of Murdian quotes.
And it's time once again for our trivia contest, Muddle the Murd, where if you muddle the Murd, you could win a prize. Now, the last time we did this was an epic yoink. So much so that I actually, when I was playing it back, the audio got distorted because I was yelling so loud. So anyway, so if you happen to muddle the Murd,
I'm not kidding. Felt the breeze from that one.
Yes, in this episode, you will still win. Because up for grabs is the page from Action Comics, number 14, page 10 from the New 52 Action Comics.
Of course.
Drawn by Rags Morales. But before we get into that, we got in another package today from our anonymous art donor. Oh. So we have some more art to add to the queue once we've gone through our stack right now.
I better start getting some more questions wrong then, so we can get these into some worthy hands.
But he says, please accept the following items as prizes for your various contests or an otherwise benevolent purpose. I have one small favor to ask. Would you please read the lyrics of your theme song? There are several sections of it that I have not been able to decipher, despite having heard it dozens of times. Well, first, I'm going to play in its entirety our theme song.
Laser beams, opinions like the seasons on everything you read in comics, movies, games, toys, artists, comic geek speak, comic geek speak, comic geek speak, comic geek speak, comic geek, uniting the world's mightiest heroes. This is
That was the EP version.
That's all right. All right. You got it on Wednesday, and you were psyched about it.
Go and turn the volume up. These guys will talk about it.
Everything the geeks love, from capes to laser beams.
Opinions like the seasons on everything you're reading.
In comics, movies, games, toys, artists, cons! There you go.
Comic geek speak, comic geek speak, comic geek speak, comic geek.
You know, those mice here. Okay, so anyway, you go for it. Let's go now to the actual question. This comes to us from Lyle Coleman. Question number 1. DC pre-1970.
All right.
Brave and the Bold, number 45, cover dated January of 1963. Features a story about a baseball team with a very unique identifier that would probably make it difficult to play baseball. Fill in the blank of the story's title with that identifying trait from the cover of the book. Challenge of the blank baseball team.
Blind.
Headless.
Okay. Legless was my second guess.
Okay. Question 2. Indy, 1970 to 2000. Scud, the disposable assassin number 6, introduced a group of 6 targets Scud was hired to eliminate. One of them was a head in hovering robotic jar. What famous golden age of Hollywood actress's head is in that floating jar? Her name was misspelled, by the way.
Well, a number of possibilities there. I'm going to say Betty Davis.
No, the answer is Jane Mansfield, spelled Jane.
As opposed to Jayne.
Correct.
Okay.
All right.
Some interesting stuff here.
All right, so we're down to the last question. I'm holding in my hand the comic book artwork. Okay,
All
question 3. So, Marvel.
How will this involve heads?
Marvel post-2000. In 2004, what Marvel on-again, off-again villain was decapitated for the second time in his illustrious career? The previous decapitation was in 1984, which was 22 years after his creation.
Thank you, Lyle, for all the hints. All right, so let's see. 1984, you said.
Was the first decapitation.
First decapitation, 22 years after his first appearance, which would have been 1962.
Right.
And then in 2004, this character was decapitated for the second time.
This on-again, off-again villain.
On again, off again. Who's been decapitated twice. Yeah, I think I'm going to be ashamed of myself. Yes, he's just gesturing towards the artwork, which is very soon going to be yours, Lyle Coleman.
He's vanna-ing the artwork.
It's going to take another yank, I think, for me to get this one. On again, off again.
Apparently, that's not unheard of.
All right, my first thought was Ultron, but that cannot be correct, because he did not first appear in 1962. I am 100% certain of that. On again, off again villain.
You can hear the wheels turning.
Yes, you'll smell the smoke soon. Did he mention which comic it happened in?
No.
All right. Well, but there are other things. 62. There are only so many possibilities. And 1962 is very early in Marvel Universe history. Okay, what is Diablo?
No, I'm sorry.
This is not Jeopardy either.
The answer is Loki.
That was one of the people I was thinking about.
Wow. So the artwork is now going to a lot. Now, he says here, this Muddle the Murd entry is less about muddling as it was about having fun trying to pick a theme to use while creating my questions. Hence the extra clues, such as Manfield's name being commonly misspelled and Loki's creation dates. Thanks again, guys, for all the fun, and keep on geeking on Lyle.
Wow. Well, thank you for quality submission there, Lyle.
So I am forwarding this to Adam here.
Pants, I have to depart. May I make a quick shout-out for a few things before I leave?
You certainly may, sir.
Okay, I wanted to mention, and Murd and I have talked about this, Astro City number 50. One of the best comics I've read off the stands in quite some time. And I fell away from Astro City for a while, not because I didn't like it. I think it's an amazing book. It just kind of – I lost touch with it. And I know Busek is moving over to a trade format which I think is just a foreshadowing of what's to come, I think, for a lot of books down the road. But he returned to the classic character from the Nearness of You half issue from many years ago. And I know Kurt Busiek isn't on the radar as much as he used to be. He is still, without question, one of the best writers in comics. And this issue confirms that. No one does the human interest side of a superhero story better than Kurt Busiek. It's about a support group of people whose lives were tragically affected by being caught up in battles between superpowered beings in the world of Astro City. And I'm sure Murd will concur that this was so beautifully written, moving, blending just sort of mundane aspects of life with, the sort of almost PTSD experience that people are struggling with what they experienced. A masterwork, and just shows again what the medium is capable of. The other book I wanted to mention is Marvel 2-in-1. I so frickin' missed the Fantastic Four, and both in the cinematic universe and in the comics. And it's been so. I've only read the first issue. I have the other two. I haven't read them yet. But to see Benjamin J. Grimm and Johnny Storm back together again, under very sad circumstances, because Reed and Sue have vanished. Quick question, guys, because I forgot. Did they vanish at the end of Secret War? I don't remember what happened there.
I'm not sure where they vanished.
The end of Secret Wars is, I think, when they sort of prescinded from the Marvel Universe. Okay. They and their children, they're just in some new dimension or other that Reed discovered, and they're just...
That's what I thought. All right, I have to look at it again, but, it's all about Ben and Johnny dealing with the fallout of their family being gone and broken up. And the first issue was just – it's Chip Zdarsky is the writer who was the artist of Sex Criminals. Wonderful job at really capturing the personality of those characters, their history, how they interact, and also wonderfully using Victor Von Doom, now casted his role as apparently a hero, trying to atone for his many sins. I highly recommend the first issue, and I'm looking forward to reading the next two, which are on my stand. Brothers, I've paused. I have to go pick up one of my kids. And I look forward to hopefully seeing you all soon at our annual retreat.
Yes, correct.
Look for an email about that probably the next day or so.
All right.
And of course, I'll be talking to you all again very soon as well.
You got it, Chris.
Good night.
Brothers, I wish you all a fond farewell. Take care. Talk to you
Hail
soon.
and farewell,
Bye.
sir.
Good night.
Indeed.
All right. Well, just a couple of things. Unless you guys – now, anything guys want to bring up on your own?
I don't. We've been very busy with anything other than relaxing.
Okay.
We had to get Carlene a new car. Hers was breaking quite often. Other things just kept getting in the way. So I haven't even read as much as I was doing really good at reading a few a night, and the last week and a half, I have not. So
I've fallen way behind in my reading as well.
Yeah. Well, so I was thrilled to get to see Black Panther in the last 2 weeks. That's
twice,
my big news.
no less.
No, I only saw it once.
Oh, that's right. You saw it
I've
twice.
seen it twice. Yeah,
I want to see it again, though.
Yeah.
Well, I read The Private Eye, and I've been using some of my spare time to make my own selections for nominations for the Best of 2017 awards. This past weekend, my folks and I went out to one of our biggest Christmas decoration buying appointments of the year. In fact, it's the biggest. And it's from there that we buy a lot of our licensed ornaments and figurines and such, including, there's some Star Wars things. Like there's going to be a Princess Leia decorating R2-D2 figurine. There's going to be a Tom Baker as the Fourth Doctor ornament this year.
Oh, nice.
As far as comics-related things, actually, I don't think there was anything new that we were able to buy. I think there's a new Superman Nutcracker with his red trunks back in place. Just in time for his 80th anniversary.
Excellent.
We also bought, let me know if I made the right decision in doing this, Brian. I was thinking of you as I did. We bought some Hatchimals ornaments.
They're still pretty popular at the store, yes. One of the more popular things right now are the LOL dolls. I don't know if they make any things for that.
I've heard of them.
Oh my God! I got them for Matt's daughter, but yeah, it's Google it. You'll see it. It's all the cool kids are doing it. Okay. But yeah, that's you can't really go wrong with that right now. I think Hatchimals.
Happy to hear it.
Yeah.
The ones we got are all bird Hatchimals as opposed to other species, and they're wearing little felt Santa hats as they pop out of their eggs. So I did that because I remember you saying they were one of the hottest toys of the past Christmas season.
They were. Anything else, gentlemen, before we wrap it up?
No, I don't think so. I'm looking forward to March. Going to March is going to be a busy movie month. I think Ready Player One comes out, A Wrinkle in Time comes out.
I finished reading the book.
Oh, I think the movie looks spectacular, but I think the book will, hands down, be better. I have no doubt that Spielberg will do a fantastic job with it. I just don't think it'll be... I think they've taken some liberties to make it a movie.
No, don't they always? And probably they won't be able to be quite as widely referential as the book was, just because the rights are so.
But I think
so many different rights to obtain.
I think if anybody has a chance to get all of them in line to be allowed to use them, Spielberg would have a better chance than most other people.
Very good point.
If that's possible, but. Yeah, I'm still excited to see it. Even Ben's excited to see it. He wanted to read the book now, finally. I've been bugging him for 2 years to read the darn book. And
whatever gets a book in his hands.
Oh, you're not kidding. So I have to dig that out tonight and give it to him, my copy of it.
And actually happening this weekend, I'm disappointed I'm not going out there. Miss March 1st to the 4th out in Seattle is the Emerald City Comic Con.
Yes, it is.
I know we talked about briefly wanted to go out there this year, Shane.
Yes.
But, Adam, but we couldn't swing it.
No, next year... No further excuses next year. I'm going to make my arrangements months in advance.
Good. I think if you don't mind, I'll join you if I can invite myself along with you.
The more the merrier.
Because actually, this weekend, speaking of our friends Sue and Shauna Bennington, they are set up in Artist Alley at table J12.
I saw a post about them going in.
Yep, and we'll talk about it more in our previews, but the news was officially announced that their book is being canceled back on the Birds of Prey. So we'll get more into that later on, and maybe even have them give their thoughts on that at a future time.
Yeah.
That would be an excellent idea.
Yes,
I'll follow whatever they do next.
But I mean, just going out there. It's a very big convention. 4 days now: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Some of the panels will be streamed live.
Oh, thank God!
Through I think Sci-Fi and on YouTube. So I'm going to check that out, see because there's again a lot of great panels out there.
Yeah.
Creators and everything. So if you're out there, have a great time. Actually, I'm going to C2E2, the other Reed show coming up in April. So I had to decide, and it's just in California to go back to Seattle so quickly. It's like, well, that's a 2-day either way flying out there on the ends. Like I just couldn't. I mean, I could swing. Who the hell? What do I got going? I'm Pants. I'm doing whatever I want. Obviously,
I'm well aware of
that. Right, Shane? You're well aware that Pants is what he wants.
I'm the opposite end of the spectrum there.
We'll get you to a con at some point.
Sometime, yeah.
And there's actually I'm going on again. There's a Doctor Who convention called Regeneration Who this weekend in Baltimore.
Yeah.
It's got Peter Capaldi there and William Russell, two people who I want to meet.
I thought about trying that, but
I don't know if I can swing that. That's a lot.
We have too much stuff going on. I can't.
That's too expensive. All right.
Yeah, those kids are going to move out of the home eventually.
I know, and it's not their fault. It's really not. I mean, the soccer games, I love going to watch them play. I wouldn't give that up for the world. And like you said, at some point, they're not going to do it anymore where I see it like this. So I'll do it as long as I can. But, yeah, there's just other crap going on that we have to take care of.
All right. So that will officially wrap it up for us here on our All Over the Place Comic Talk. Once again, this episode is brought to you by the Denver Independent Comic and Art Expo, otherwise known as DINK. Check their website out at dinkdenver.com, happening this April 14th and 15th. And check out the Dinky Awards as well if you have a product you want to submit to them.
Visit us at comicgeekspeak.com. To send an email, the address is comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. To leave a voicemail, the number is 267-702-6642. Stop by thecomicforums.vanillaforums.com and let us know what you think of this hodgepodgey episode. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. I almost said that backwards. Thanks to everyone who contributes to the episode, sends stuff in. Thanks for the Doctor Who CDs. My God, I cannot wait to listen to them. And keep sending in Muddle the Murds because I want to feel the breeze again one time. And as always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes one listener at a time.
Laser beams, opinions like the